welcome back to what is a lively match here, David, isn't it? I mean, it really finished bubbling their chances at both ends.
That's right. It started very apprehensively with both sides, and Barnsley were on top territorially without creating any chances.
Right.
Then it opened up when George Parrish got through and had that shot saved, and then Clive got his first chance and it's 1-0.
Well, I think we've got to look at the goal. I mean, we were saying before the game that this fella has scored goals at every level. He was a great player, and sure enough, he come up trumps with another classic goal.
That's right. It's
Good work by young Keane, I thought.
Very good move. A good first touch by Clive. He knows what the defender's doing. The chance is there, and it's away. It's in the corner. But credit must go to Mick Small as well, because he took a Barnsley player out the way as they're doing the man-for-man marking, which left Keane with a good option, and which pass to select.
He's so cool, isn't he? He's so cool under pressure when he gets it in the box. I mean, most players you'd have thought, hit it with your left foot there, you know, move on and hit it with your left foot.
Well, he's done it all his life, Clive,
yeah.
and I mean, we saw a little bit later with a volley, and you could see he was disappointed. He expects to score every time he has an effort at goal.
Because, I mean, he's never really in the game, is he? He's not a player that dominates the game, where he's always in doing stuff. He's out it for large spells, and then bang, he does it necessary.
I think Clive's always been criticised over his career that his work rate's never been high enough, you know,
yes.
which often happens with goal scorers, but at the moment he can say put your goals on the table and it's 1 and 2.
Yeah. No, obviously Barnsley thought they should have had a penalty. We can have a look at this from a couple of angles and see what you think. Now, Rammel was a player, number 8 there, going for the ball. Steve Potts coming across in the tackle. And I think this shows from this angle here that Potts slid past him. And I don't think that was a penalty kick.
No, in fairness, from where I first saw it, I thought it was a penalty. But you can see that Potts comes. He doesn't defend very well. Rammel turns inside, and Potts realises he's made an error, and he tries to get back. And I think Rammel's left shin sort of catches Potts' shoulder. It's certainly not intentional, and really, in fairness to the referee, I think he was right.
Well, the referee said in the tunnel, I believe, to one of our chaps that, you know, he had a clear view of it, because normally you say, well, I never saw it and all this. He said he had a clear view of it and he didn't think it was a penalty kick.
Well, seeing it with hindsight with the video camera,
yeah.
I agree with him.
I mean, from this angle, we're at the opposite end of the ground here, and I thought, oh, an obvious penalty, because I actually thought that Potts had grabbed him with his left hand.
That's right, I agree with you. That was my first feeling, and the reaction of the crowd made you feel that as well. But no, full credit to the referee, and it was the right decision.
It certainly was. Well, they have played some good football. That's one thing about Barnsley. Owen Archdeacon out on the left-hand side, especially in the last sort of 20 minutes of the game, has been doing quite a lot of damage down there as well, David.
Yeah, I think Mel would have been disappointed early that Rammel and Archdeacon didn't create a few more problems down that side, whereas he's got a slight problem on the other side where Dixon Keane can be 2 against 1 against the boy Robinson, and obviously Mel wants to attack down that left-hand side. I mean, you can see from this point of view, Archdeacon actually starts the move, he's involved with Rammel, it's up to Curry, and he's then on the return, and he goes through, so he's obviously an attacking-minded player, being an ex-winger, and I should think Mel will be saying to him, try and get forward and link up down that side more and get a few crosses and shots in.
Well, he's an ex-winger. Matt Robinson on the right back are playing wide right there. He's an ex-winger.
That's correct.
And he's a lovely player as well. I mean, you can see that these two fellas can play a bit of football.
They're both composed on the ball, particularly the boy Robinson has done well defensively in tight situations. He's got out of situations, which means that he's capable of doing the same at the other end. I feel that he hasn't been able to get forward quite as much as he would like to have done.
We'll look for that in the second half. For the moment, we'll take a short break. And what has been a very interesting and a very lively first half. Dave Bassett was with me, and I think we both enjoyed that first half, Dave, yes?
Yes, it certainly livened up as it went on, and I think the second half could be quite interesting. I think Barnsley just got to be careful that West Ham don't score a second goal, because they look possibly capable of doing that. But I fancy if Barnsley could get an early goal, it could set up a nice grandstand finish, because West Ham would then be tested as to their character.
That's right. As a referee, not too popular, not too popular a man. But let's go back upstairs to our commentary team, Trevor Francis and John Helme.
Didn't seem to worry the referee there, to be fair. He had a big smile on his face, sharing a joke with Kevin Keane. Looking around, I can't see any substitutes on at the start of this half. Just to tell you, on the Barnsley bench today are the experienced defender Mark Smith and young Andrew Liddle. We can actually have a quick word with Barnsley manager Mel Machin just as the teams kick off.
Mel, what have you said at half-time? Well, it's pure and simple, is that after half an hour, first quarter of an hour, after the first quarter of an hour, just to play the way that we had. I thought we were very tentative in the first 10 minutes, quarter of an hour. and it looks as if we shouldn't have been on the same park as them. But we've come back very strong, and if we continue to do that in the second half, well, I'm sure we'll get a win.
Thanks very much indeed.
Well, we're talking to Nick Powell, and he won't be too happy when he emerges down the tunnel now to find that John Pearson has conceded a free kick inside the West Ham penalty area. On the West Ham bench today are Tony Gale and Mark Robson. In there with that's the Barnsley bench. Mark Smith on the left of your picture, and 19-year-old Andrew Liddell in the centre. Now Bishop, chance to play Small in, and the willing Small gallops after it. Taggart who's gone with him. Taggart won't shirk a challenge, that is for sure. Trying to create a bit of space here. It's not easy to find, but he has found Tim Breaker, and that will now be a goal kick. So Mel Machin's principles are for Barnsley just to keep playing the same way and be patient, I suppose.
Yes, I would have thought that disappointed that his side didn't score in the first half, but encouraged by the number of balls they got into the penalty box, and they certainly had one or two chances, not as if they didn't have chances in the first half.
There was a lovely example there of good experienced defending as Alvin Martin just gave John Pearson the slightest of nudges to make sure he'd got the bit of space he wanted to be able to clear the ball. And he's now back in his own penalty area as Kerry jinks this way and that. Gets no more than a throw in. Really important for Barnsley to try and get it back into this game as quickly as possible. They want that equaliser. Robinson flat. Keane on the edge of the box. And Allen's backheader looking for Small, who just fouled Taggart. Interesting. That was a very similar nudge to the one I was talking about from Martin on Pearson a moment ago. The first one went unpunished, the second one didn't. Let's have a look about time in possession on statistics here. Well, Barnsley actually have had 56% of the play, West Ham 44, but really the only statistic that matters at the end of the day is goals, and West Ham are one in front. Free kick Barnsley, which Bishop has taken. There was Alvin Martin again. Bullymore.
One player who wouldn't be too interested in those statistics would be Clive Allen, of course. He's not bothered who's got possession or not. He had possession for, what, 10 seconds, and it was in the back of the net.
Absolutely right. It's something that Jimmy Greaves would have testified to as well. What do you think about Jimmy Greaves? You didn't see him for 88 minutes of the match, maybe. When you did, he usually put the ball in the net. Archdeacon has taken the free kick this time up towards Kerry, and Rammell is underneath it, looking for Pearson in there. There's a bit of space behind Pearson, but nobody was able to exploit it. Archdeacon, lovely ball. Now Bullymore rolls it on, and Kerry tries to re-find Bullymore in there. He's got the corner. But Bullymore is certainly a very eager player. Wants to be involved all the time. Corner kick for Barnsley. Here it is, and the flick over from Mikloshko, and then it's turned aside by Dix with Kerry lurking. Mikloshko's a good 6'2", and he just had to flick that one away. Kerry, another chance to play it in, and he's not been able to get the lift on the ball he wanted. Barnsley, as they did in the first half, tend to be dictating the play. Here's Mikloshko, and you see it really was the full extent.
Yes, I don't think he'd be too happy with that goalkeeping there. Flapped it slightly, and he was fortunate the ball didn't fall to Barnsley forward.
Keane. this ball, there's going to be a booking here for Kevin Keane, who kicked the ball away. And although Alvin Martin is leading the protests on Keane's behalf, I think referee Nixon probably saying to Alvin Martin, well, it's nothing to do with you. I make the decisions. He's acting under the spirit of the law, or whatever the laws are, and he's going to book Kevin Keane.
Well, Kevin can have no complaints about that, because the directive was sent round before the season started. Referees are stamping down on any sort of dissent, kicking the ball away, encroachment on free kicks, preventing free kicks, and the yellow card will be produced, as Mr. Nixon did there.
Taggart, the Barnsley captain, calling for the ball. He's such an enthusiast. He's very much the driving force of this Barnsley side at the back. It's rather a hopeful ball looped forward by Redfern, and there was Mikloshko clearing it with his foot, as he had to do then. But West Ham have brought it away until this intervention again by Robinson, who's nominally the right back, finds himself in an outside left position. Taggart was in the right place then, and he's found Redfern, who's got no support down the right as yet, because Robinson had taken up a midfield position. So it's Bishop towards Pearson, and a safe gather from the Czech keeper, who quickly looked up there and saw that Clive Allen was trying to make some space on the end of his clearance. Not well directed.
It was good thinking by McCloskey, because he saw that for about the first time in the game, Barnsley had pushed men forward and were just 2 against 2 at the back. So he released the ball very, very quickly, but it wasn't accurate enough.
Now it's Kerry. This is the situation he relishes, trying to go between the two defenders. Was he brought down from behind by Martin? Well, I thought he was, and so did the referee this time.
I think Mr. Nixon thought about a booking there, but decided against it, giving Alvin the benefit of the doubt. He certainly went to his back pocket, but then changed his mind.
Now Barnsley, Archdeacon and Redfern exchanged a few words before Redfern flats it in there. It's just going to go beyond to Rammel at the back post. He was literally, I would say, a foot away from an equaliser there. He got the touch to it, but it wasn't a strong enough one. Here it is played in. It confused the West Ham defence, and he was a certain scorer with a better connection. Good free kick.
Yes, they're always difficult to defend against. Not an easy ball for the keeper. I think Alvin Martin was the last man and decided to leave it, not really aware that Rammel was coming in behind.
I think it's fair to say that Barnsley deserve an equaliser on the balance of play, certainly. And the crowd are getting behind them again now. As Bullymore plays it on to Archdeacon, and he's got past George Paris. And it's a deep cross, Pearson coming for it, and Mikloshko this time able to palm it down and then collect. Keane on for Allen. Butler. This time Redfern wins it. It's a good spell for Barnsley. And the red shirts sort of pouring forward, but they just need perhaps a little bit more direction in midfield. Redfern's spirit carried him through into the tackle. I just feel they need a little bit more craft in there, perhaps.
Yes, they're continually flighting that ball into the, looking for the head of Pearson. But they need to get 1 or 2 men a little bit closer to him. There's no point in him winning the ball unless there's 1 or 2 of his players close by to pick up the bits and pieces. Certainly helping the Barnsley players that they're kicking towards their home supporters.
Familiar face in the crowd there, Alan Buckley, the Grimsby Town manager. Got a game against Barnsley coming up shortly. Bishop has to be sure here with that Allen in close attendance. Still though, West Ham leading by that 1-0 scored by Clive Allen after 21 minutes. And we're 10 minutes into the second half, and West Ham almost for the first time in this half, which seems to have been spent exclusively in the West Ham half. They come forward themselves now. Keane, eluding Robinson. Well, that's a nice little piercing pass. She's got Keane moving again. This is the confidence of West Ham when they do knock the ball around, and it's never left the turf. That was good to see. Free kick's going to be given for that. Julian Dix, who was out for much of last season with a bad injury, and has come back. He's a strong lad, and he started at Birmingham City. And here he is again, Dix, and he's going to have to be careful here against Pearson. Well, Pearson rather overdid it, and referee Nixon has awarded the free kick against John Pearson. Julian Dix was only 24 last week, so he's still got youth very much on his side. He was talked of as a potential England fullback at one time. Martin, good football. Offside Keane.
Well, it was unfortunate then. It's a great run by Keane. Been very impressed with him this afternoon, and what's taken my eye more than anything is his movement off the ball. Whenever he plays the ball, he never stops to admire his pass. He always moves, and that was a great forward movement he made there.
And a free kick against Pearson without putting any pressure on you, Trevor. We are giving a Barclays Man of the Match award today, and Keane might be just one of those players who would figure in your thinking. Well, this might be a break for Barnsley. Came off the back of the West Ham player straight into Archdeacon's pass. What can Kerry do with it now? Lazily almost, he gets past the first man. Alvin Martin able to lay it back, and Kloshko able to pass the ball all along the ground to break it. Barnsley just haven't taken their chances when they've got them, and again they're given the ball back. Rammel now to take on Potts. Blocked, and fairly blocked in the referee's opinion. And still no reward for Barnsley. So Bishop has got Small moving here to the edge of that area. Pursued by Fleming. Lays it back intelligently for Breaker. He's got a man alongside him. That man is Ian Bishop. He'll have a dig with the left foot. And it almost crawled along the ground as far as Lee Butler. Ian Bishop, not a prolific goal scorer throughout his career, which includes Everton and Manchester City and Bournemouth, of course. John Pearson looking in vain to the referee for a free kick, and he conceded two himself. Keane, that's a good ball. West Ham just looking to control the pace of the game now. They don't hit the ball hurriedly. Always probing, that's what they do now with Bishop. With Dix, nice ball through, an intelligent run again by Keane. Dix for Butler. Well, it had to break down eventually. They seemed to have the ball then for an eternity, and yet Barnsley just unable to retain possession for very long at the moment. And you get the feeling that the longer the game goes, the more West Ham are beginning to control it. But who knows? Has the sting been taken out of Barnsley? Maybe not yet, because here is Pearson romping onto the ball. Barnsley's throw in. They've got to get men up. And they've got to get crosses in, which is one of the things Mel Machin there and Mick Wadsworth have been urging them to do. Long throw, Pearson's on it, Rammel coming for it, the chance may be there. No, Butler just meaningfully got a boot in. It stopped Barnsley in their tracks. Bishop has laid it on, Archdeacon just couldn't get there, and that ball will run out of play. I was just beginning to think there that Barnsley had the sting taken out of them a little, but that was a good move and a flick on from Pearson. Mikloshko bravely down to it, and Butler got the boot in that counted. But Barnsley do really need that goal, Trevor.
Yes, they're certainly applying the pressure, but it doesn't really look like coming. And for all the pressure, they haven't really sort of brought too much action out of McCloskey in the West Ham goal. He flapped at one cross, or one corner I should say, but apart from that, can't really think of any outstanding saves he's had to make.
Dave Bassett, what are your thoughts at the moment as to how Barnsley might just turn this one around?
Well, I think they need a little bit of luck, actually, to get a goal. At the moment, West Ham have controlling the game, and if anything, I fancy they're going to get a second one. Barnsley have got to have something come for them, like a cross or a free kick where they can get a goal to give them the confidence. They look as if their confidence is gone, and West Ham's is improving.
I like the look of Kevin Keane today, Bassett. Dave, I reckon he looks a bit like you, actually.
Well, I'm a better fullback than he is.
He's playing well, though, isn't he?
He's playing very well. He's a good player. I was talking to Ian about him before the season, today before the match, and I met his father in the summer, and his father felt that really he should have been moving on now. He'd been at West Ham too long and hadn't established himself in the team on a regular basis, but it looks like possibly now Billy's going to give him his chance.
That's right. Kevin Keane is one of those who's come through the youth policy at West Ham. McCloskey's okay again as Curry inside the penalty area. Twists, turns, didn't get anywhere particularly, so Redfern pumps it back in. Alvin Martin, there wasn't much communication back there then. Good ball could have gone all the way through to Mikloško. Well won, however, by Paris. Now Small. It's going to go out of play though. And it's still Barnsley 0, West Ham United 1 here at Oakwell. On the opening day of the new season for the First Division Yorkshire club. I've no doubt the comment in the box is they'll be all right, Flower. Charlie Williams. So long a stalwart supporter of Barnsley, and of course he played in the Football League as well, did Charlie? Doncaster Rovers. Well, the sun really out now at Oakwell. But Barnsley fans will not be happy so long as their side are in arrears. Mikloško, there you see the damage to the right knee. I think it was fair enough he had the treatment. One or two of the crowd thought he was time wasting, but that certainly was worth treatment. Crowd is 7,030 by the way, so it's actually up on last season's average. Just about anyway. Here's Robinson, plies the ball in towards Pearson. Well held Mikloško, he's obviously not been hampered by that injury.
No, it certainly came confidently for that ball and took it cleanly. Needed to with Pearson coming in on him, but it was a good save.
So Clive Allen's goal, the only one of this encounter so far. Barnsley finished 16th last season. West Ham, of course, bottom of Division 1. And they defend now as Curry nicks it back in. Pearson has looped a header into the penalty area, and Paris able to knock it back with his forehead to Mikloško. And well bowled out by Mikloško as well to Bishop. Bishop against Bullymore now. Bullymore's won it. And, over the line, according to the linesman down on this side of the field. Potts. Kept out by Fleming. Allen has got a knock on here towards Small, which is intercepted by Taggart. He's a resourceful performer, Jerry Taggart. He's Barnsley's record cap holder with the Northern Ireland, overtaking Eddie McMorran's previous record, and I'm told he's a potential future captain of his country.
It's rather deceiving actually as a player, because whenever I've played against him, I've found him to be a lot quicker than I really anticipated. Doesn't give the appearance of being a quick player, but he's got good pace.
And there was sort of derisive cheering then, because the free kick was awarded to Barnsley's Pearson, who's had a few awarded against him in the course of the afternoon. And this is a good position for Barnsley, but they do need this equaliser, and if they get one, it will set us up very nicely for the second half of this second half. It's Curry. There's no power in that at all. And when it's lobbed back over the top, Keane is able to pump it out again. Redfern, Taggart's knock onto Kerry. Oh, that deserved a goal, actually. That was the instinctive strike of a player who's always looking for a goal. It's the best we've seen today of David Kerry, who is capable of this sort of brilliant thinking. Well, that's very close. Paris had expected Tim Breaker to make ground at the touchline to get on the end of that pass. He hadn't, though. So here is Kerry once more. Kerry's got over 100 goals in the Football League. Just one would do at the moment today. Bishop's header landed straight on Dix's toe end. Dix, as he's done so many times today, turned inside and then played a good ball down the line for Peter Butler, who's able to check, lay it back. Keane again, cross in, it's towards Allen. It's going to come down here for George Paris. Dix, he wanted on his left foot as well. Butler with Keane supporting up the flank, acted as a decoy. The ball in, and it's going to be lobbed into Butler's hands in the end by Bishop. Nice to see the players enjoying their afternoon here. To be a bit of holding going on there, but it went unpunished. This is Archdeacon, who's not had as much of the ball in the second half as he did towards the back end of the first. Floated in, and Mikloshko comes again.
He's been very positive, hasn't he? He decided there that once that ball left Archdeacon's left foot, he was off his line and he made sure that ball was his.
Butler, competitive as always. Good little journeyman footballer, Peter Butler. Pearson and Martin are having quite a battle back there. It is very physical between those two. It looks as though we're going to have the first change in personnel with Mark Robson coming on for West Ham. He started his career down in the West Country, which you would know all about, Trevor, did Mark Robson. And had a spell at Exeter. And the Spurs, actually. Now it's Ramelow against Breaker. That's a good tackle from behind. He went for the ball and won it. Bullymore. Got to play it wide right, and you see it's not well directed. I don't think Robinson can keep it in, and that will give us a chance to see Mark Robson, the substitution made. I was going to say about Robson, he started in the West Country, then moved to Tottenham Hotspur, where his career didn't quite blossom as he'd hoped. But today he's coming on to replace George Paris and to make a league debut for West Ham United, hoping a change of club does him good. It's an interesting move, basically, in that Robson is very much a wide player, loves to play down the touchline, whereas George Paris has been more infield.
Yes, it's not what you call negative thinking by Billy Bonds, is it? In fact, it's positive. I'm just wondering if he's put him on there to try and push Archdeacon back. Because Archdeacon, with his left foot, he is a threat. He hits a good long ball to the far post to Pearson. I'm just wondering if he can hope that Robson can cause him one or two problems going forward, trying to push him back.
We shall see. It's certainly not a conventional change. But for the moment, West Ham are a goal up. And we'll be telling you about our man of the match. Trevor Francis is going to nominate it for us about 5 minutes from the end of the game. As Bullymore prepares to take this free kick for Barnsley. They trail 1-0. They need a goal. And that header from Pearson won't bring them one. The ball not even going out, but it's well won back by Taggart, who's got the chance to play it in now. And he thought a little bit too quickly there for his compatriot Robinson. There are 20 minutes left. Allen controlled it well. Under a rather snappy challenge from Bishop. So important for teams to get off to a good start to the season. You're making the point earlier that Mel Machin certainly wouldn't want to lose today. Billy Bonds will be much the happier of the two managers at the moment. Knocked up in the air by Fleming. That was a rather dangerous place to be bringing the ball away like that. Got away with it, did Redfern, though. Then Rammell has found Kerry. Nobody to give the ball to. He lost out to Butler. Butler sensibly holding things up until Robson supported him.
Just taking you up on your point about it's important to get off to a good start, John. That's why I feel that it's rather unfortunate for the likes of Peter Reid tomorrow and Jerry Francis that they're going to be bottom of the league when they kick off tomorrow night, playing on a Monday night.
Psychological, it's not nice, is it? Here's the ball laid in, and Allen, yes, he was turning the defender without question. Yeah, although, funnily enough, it didn't do Leeds any harm last season for different reasons. They didn't start their season until the midweek when they beat Nottingham Forest, and we all know what happened after that. But I think it is a fair point that nobody wants everybody else to get away before them, without having had the chance of getting points. Here is Keane now. He's had a big influence on this game as Kevin Keane, and he's made a good run there, and it's not a bad cutback either. Allen turns on it and clips it into Butler's hands. Once more the source of danger was Kevin Keane.
Yes, he's really impressed me this afternoon. Actually one of my candidates for the man of the match, and that was good thinking also by Clive Allen. You see him thinking all the time. Knew he couldn't get real power in his shot, so he tried a delicate little chip. And unfortunately, Butler was positioned well for him.
Robson has taken it down and whipped in a shot which took the deflection. Well, I'm sure Mark Robson would have loved to have marked his West Ham debut with a goal in the first couple of minutes he's been on the field. Here we have it from our camera lens in the goal mouth. And there is Mark Robson, who's one of a number of players inside the Barnsley penalty area. But noticeably this time, West Ham have left 4 men back close to the halfway line. They've created space for Dix, and he's nearly cracked it down the road. He can do better than that, and he knows it, but Mel Machin still has much to contemplate.
I'm sure at this moment Mel's thinking about a change. He's got Liddell on the bench, of course, who he could bring on.
Yes, it's got to be said that that's more likely than Mark Smith at the moment, because it is an attacking player he needs rather than a defender. Archdeacon. Once more, it's that rock-solid figure of Alvin Martin who gets it out for West Ham. Robson, nice little touch on as well for Breaker. He's got a lot of room here, Tim Breaker. He can hit the ball well as well. It's across the face, however, and Small can't keep it in. Well, I think we all remember a goal Tim Breaker scored on the last day of the season a couple of years ago, which was a real fizzer. I think it was for Luton against Derby, but not this time.
Yes, he found himself in a lot of space there. It was a good little ball from Robson. Archdeacon went missing, and big space for him to move into, but his final cross or shot, whatever it was a bit disappointing.
The old thing about being caught in 2 minds. West Ham's free kick. Lofted up towards Small. He's not there, but Butler is. Oh, and Butler had almost tricked his way through. He would have been in an excellent scoring position with another step. Martin. Again, here's somebody in 2 minds, not sure whether to attempt the pass back or not.
In that situation, a defender has to go safety first. He's got to go straight away into touch for a throw-in. You can't possibly take chances trying to get it back to the goalkeeper.
Well, goals have already accrued as a result of this rule change. Bishop in sharply. Finds Small. 15 minutes to go. Butler. West Ham are spreading it around nicely again. So Robson was halted in his progress by Redfern. And Barnsley look as though they're going to bring on 19-year-old Andrew Liddell, who's a YTS boy who just came on in the very last match of last season against Portsmouth to make a league debut. I have a feeling Andy Rammell will come off because he was the one who was in doubt up to the kick-off. Pots his free kick, dealt with by Robinson. Dix drives on. Clive Allen's inside the penalty area. Bishop had to get the touch. Good crowd there, as you see, at the back of the goal that West Ham are attacking. I think another goal now would suffice for West Ham. Can they get one? It's going to be a corner which Ian Bishop will take. Clive Allen is in there. John Pearson has gone back to help defend as it swings in, and Martin got underneath it, knocked out to Keane. Now for Robson. Small. Ooh, and it's Clive Allen tried to swivel on it. We saw him in the first half hit a similar sort of shot when he did connect, and the ball went a foot or two wide. This time he didn't quite make it.
Amazing though, isn't it, John? There must have been 10 players in that penalty box, yet Clive Allen found himself in 2 or 3 yards of space. That's a sign of a great striker.
Always know where to be, instinctive positional play. And it is indeed Andy Rammell who leaves the scene to be replaced by Andrew Liddell. It's a nice moment for Andrew Liddell to appear here at Oakwell for the first time in a league game. He tries to get onto the end of Pearson's flick.
And if you don't want to say it, John, and being live on television.
Absolutely, what a way to make your debut. And Curry is here. Now then, what can he do this time? Curry, shot! Oh, off the crossbar, unlucky. Well, David Curry a few moments ago had a shot which went a foot or two wide. That was an even better effort, and I think he can count himself unlucky there. Mikloshko didn't have a hope, but it's breaker for West Ham. Looking for Small. Well found by Taggart. And the crowd just trying to spur Barnsley on now. Here is Liddell. Gets the throw in. Well, that was a shame for Barnsley and probably for the game, as the referee is just holding things up. He's coming over to one of the benches to have a word. It's the West Ham bench he's going to. The linesman over there, Mr. Doug Charnsley. Charnsley had drawn something to his attention. Billy Bonds is being spoken to. A shake of the head from Harry Redknapp. All appears rather friendly to me. Amicably sorted out. Billy Bonds doesn't seem too worried, does he?
Not if it stays 1-0, he won't be.
No, that's right. I think the word is that he wanted him to sit down and stay in the dugout. Anybody think it was a kennel?
Yes, I believe that's a new ruling, isn't it, for this season, that managers aren't allowed to stand anymore. They must be seated throughout the game, which for 1 or 2 managers is going to present problems. I was instructed by a police constable yesterday, the last 20 minutes, to sit down. As we were hanging on for a 1-1 draw at Goodison, I was up on my feet once or twice and was told to sit down.
And did you?
Most definitely. Well, it was either that or it would be escorted out the ground.
Bullymore. Not long left for Barnsley to rescue something from the game. They will count themselves certainly unlucky with that shot of Curry's. I think the crossbar is still shaking. We'll have a look at that incident again in just a moment when Curry did hit the crossbar, but not while Barnsley are applying the pressure as they are now. Pearson gets up there, can't get the knock on he was looking for. Redfern wins it though. 10 minutes to go. Barnsley 0, West Ham 1. Down the the line for Little to chase, and it's the young one against the older Martin, and, well, it's the experience of Alvin Martin which wins on that occasion. And a high boot by Mike Small. So Barnsley's free kick, and in fact West Ham also want to make another change. Tony Gale. I think West Ham obviously looking to bolster their defence with the introduction of another experienced player. It's the goal scorer Clive Allen who's gone off, so making their intentions very obvious in bringing on a defender for a striker. Allen off, and it's backs to the wall again as this free kick is driven up there towards Taggart, who gets the head to it. And a good charge down by Curry. Keeps Barnsley up there. Potts has knocked it on towards Small.
Good substitution that by Billy Bonds. I felt that the last few minutes Clive Allen starting to tire slightly. They're going to leave Small up front by himself. Interesting to see what Barnsley do now, whether they continue to keep the 3 at the back or whether they just change it to 2.
Well, they've got to go for broke a little bit, but here's the danger. On the break, it's Keane. Still managed to get it out to Butler. Just over 8 minutes to go and an offside decision. I think we'll just have a look at this incident where David Curry really shook the crossbar. Confident strike, and they were lucky.
Yes, he was unfortunate, wasn't he? McClusker was well beaten. Unfortunate, I say, for Curry, because the ball was always rising. He had that feeling the ball was going to hit the crossbar from the moment it left his foot.
So it's going to be bitterly disappointing for Barnsley and their followers if they do lose on this opening day here at Oakwell. Albeit that West Ham will certainly be expected to be among the front runners for a place to get in the Premier League next season. There are some very strong sides in this new Football League First Division. The likes of Derby County, Newcastle, Sunderland, Portsmouth, Leicester City, all big-name clubs. And again, the linesman has his flag raised. Referee Nixon coming for words with Mr. Charnley. And out is going to come the yellow card for Mike Small this time. So the second booking of the day. The first was for Keane, who kicked the ball away. The second is for Mike Small. Oh, he's got a red card. I can only believe he said something. Well, I have to admit, I am totally baffled by that. We might try and see what led up to that in a moment, but here we are with the free kick already taken. So West Ham have got to play out the remaining 6 or 7 minutes with 10 men.
And no forwards.
No, Allen's gone off. Small's definitely gone off now as well. And Archdeacon is looking to prise them open down the left. But that's a talking point, all right. Billy Bonds, the West Ham manager, must be wondering now, well, there's not much he can do in these closing moments. He's already got his substitutes on, both of them. I can only believe that Mike Small said something out of turn.
The guy wasn't offside.
The word from the touchline is it was foul and abusive language. Well, we couldn't be expected to pick that up from the opposite side of the ground where we are. Here are Barnsley with Little. Not a bad little chip through, but it's just that bit too long. Well, I'm sure Billy Bonds is happy that that didn't happen about 20 minutes ago, otherwise his team might well have been on the rack. 5 minutes left. Well, we can tell him that. He's asking the question. This is long. It's a right old punt is that, and all the way through from one keeper to the other. Minutes left as Robinson comes down the right touchline now. Barnsley a goal down, West Ham a man down. Barnsley 0, West Ham 1. Well, certainly no shortage of talking points. Clive Allen, an excellent goal. Butler, one really good save in the first half. And Curry hitting the crossbar. But so far, not much reward for Barnsley. And West Ham are looking for a second here. Well, the shot came in from Keane. He found the space he was looking for. And now he's darting back. He's a very fit lad. And he's gone back there to defenders. Bishop lays the ball forward and Dix is content to just put the boot out and put that one into the crowd. 4 minutes to go. Barnsley down at 1-0. Curry. They want a late equaliser. That was delightfully played. Now Robinson's cross. Pearson's header. Miklochko spreads himself on the ground. So still no joy for John Pearson, who's only got one league goal ever for Barnsley, and that was on the first day of last season against Plymouth. Certainly for their effort and general endeavours, Barnsley do deserve a goal. But can they get one? That's the ultimate question. Here's a nice turn from Liddell again. Plenty of Barnsley pressure at the moment. Although this throw-in will be West Ham's. And it'll be a very nice feeling for West Ham United to go back down south with 3 points safely tucked away if they do go on to win it.
Yes, I wouldn't have thought that for the first game of the season they would exactly relish coming up to Barnsley, but if they do go away with 3 points, it's a great start to the campaign for them. There's been 1 or 2 outstanding performances today from West Ham players, especially Alvin Martin at the back. Clive Allen, of course, for that wonderful goal. But for me, the outstanding player of the game has been Kevin Keane. For that reason, I give him my Man of the Match award.
So Kevin Keane is the first Barclays Man of the Match here on YTV. And he will get some champagne for that, and he nearly got a goal as well, because he was right in front of Butler when he had to make the clearance. And it would have rounded off a really excellent day for him. He probably doesn't know he's going to get a bottle of bubbly yet, but he is. But Barnsley just won a goal, and what a great run by Bishop as well. It was Breaker who got underneath it. They really do try might and main, Barnsley. They've not thrown the towel in by any means. Taggart. That was a cannon. So the throw-in award is to West Ham. Well done to Kevin Keane. A very, very industrious and purposeful performance today.
Just look at the West Ham bench there. They actually applauded that decision too.
Yeah, it's nice to see a decision doing well. Header out is from Fleming. Barnsley still under a little pressure here though, as Robson tussles for it. Just a minute to go, a minute left for Barnsley to try and salvage something. And they come again with Bishop. He's a tremendous runner with the ball at his feet, and he's gone on and he's been brought down. Well, I think Bishop should have been at the Don Valley Stadium on Friday night, the way he's run in the last few minutes.
Well, I was going to say, John, you get the feeling that if he had been pushed forward a little bit earlier, he might have caused 1 or 2 problems. I mean, that type of strong running, I think Barnsley could have done with a little bit earlier in the game.
There's no answer to it. Well, that is the answer. When they bring them down, and Barnsley have a free kick. They need a goal. They want a point from this game at least. Bullymore has taken it. And again they mass the ranks, and the shot came in from Neil Redfern and was no more than a couple of feet high and wide. Disappointing then. But Redfern wasn't able to quite make it count. That's how close he was as we move into time added on. Lofted forward, no trouble for Miklochko, and it's beginning to look very much as though the points are going back to Upton Park. And West Ham will see this as their first step along the road to promotion. But the play goes on. Trevor, I imagine you were very delighted to bring a point back from Goodison Park yesterday.
Yes, as I said before, John, the first game of the season is important that you don't get beat. Our first half performance was excellent, and we should have gone in 1-0 ahead. Everton played very, very well in the second half, and a little bit fortunate to come away with a draw, but it's a good start. One more point than we were this time last season.
Yeah, remember that one against Aston Villa. But here is Potts up into the sky. The sun is still shining brightly. Barnsley still giving it everything, but it looks as though it's not going to quite be enough unless this man can do it again. Bishop hits the ball long towards the edge of the West Ham penalty area. Pearson's flick on is beyond Curry. He'll come in a little closer to him than he knew. And was that Barnsley's last opportunity? We saw them score some excellent wins last season on this ground, notably against Ipswich, who went on to be the champions. Newcastle, Southend, but at the moment they're one down. Mikloshko clatters the ball downfield again. We've already had a couple of minutes, and in fact that is the final whistle. A successful start to their campaign then by West Ham United. The one goal after 21 minutes by Clive Allen proved sufficient to send those supporters back down south. With this scoreline at Barnsley 0, West Ham United 1, the final score. We'll have the views of Ian St John and Dave Bassett after the break.